Hey guys, Gingy Gaming here, and today I just wanted to talk a little bit about the skill involved in Battlefield 1. In the background here we have some gameplay with my friend here, and we decided to pick out loadouts for each other when we're playing against each other. It's a bit like Double Vision if you've ever watched that with old Captain Timio, but anyway. So enjoy that while I'm ranting on about skill in Battlefield 1, and so let's get started, shall we? Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about before anything else is actually two things: Battlefield Hardline and Battlefront. Now, as we all know by now, they've kind of flopped just simply because of a few things, but also because of skill, and I'm gonna get there. So, you know, a few things being Battlefront just didn't have enough customization, wasn't enough weapons. There were only 11 to start with, which isn't very much, especially for the Battlefield franchise. And in Hardline, the weapon balance was just absolutely atrocious. It was horrible, and we all remember that. I mean, the only guns that anyone would ever use are M1683, M416, K10, and the Scout Elite if you're sniping. But that's about it. So people that just gravitated towards other games instead of those games. But there was another part of it. Hardline and Battlefront did not have the same amount of skill involved as other Battlefield games, and was a lot easier, at least in my perspective, and I think many of other people's perspectives as well. So basically, Hardline is, there's a lot of guns that, first of all, the damage based on like Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4 is way higher than either of those two games. It's way off the charts higher. So that caused, obviously, a lot more just you kind of shot first and that was it, you won basically. Now with Battlefront, if you notice, the guns have no recoil whatsoever. You know, basically if you shoot like anywhere near the enemy, like you're gonna hit them just because you don't have to compensate for any recoil at all. And that's to the point where it starts getting to the next thing I'm going to talk about, which is COD. Now, first off, I'm going to say, but this is why I don't want the skill for those, or like those two games for Battlefield 1, just simply because they might flop later on. But anyway, let's get to COD now. So, I'm not dissing any COD players, okay? I just personally like the Battlefield franchise more. So if you're a COD player, that's perfectly fine by me. I don't care if people have their own opinions, you know, whatever. But I think a lot of Battlefielders are gonna agree with me on this. I do not want COD, like Battlefield 1, to be like COD. Now, I've heard a few people say that the recoil on the guns isn't as high as like other Battlefield games. That kind of worries me because obviously I don't really want that. I want it to be like a lot of recoil. The other thing is another part of that is I guess there's a lot of spread as well. I've heard it from several sources, and that makes it so basically if you start shooting the gun, there's no reason, like, it's basically just luck if you kill them at a certain distance. So that makes it so it's not really skill, obviously, it's luck. So the way to do that is like take the the weapon, the bullet spread away. Sorry, not the weapon spread, that doesn't make any sense. Bullet spread away and add a few more things I'll get to later on. So anyway, I do not want it to become COD as well, as I was saying, and in COD, like, all the bullets are hit scan. I know it's not going to be nearly as much as, because let's be honest here, COD does not take as much skill as Battlefield. I think that kind of goes without saying, just because in Battlefield you have so many things to compensate for. You have bullet speed, a lot more recoil than COD. You have vehicles you need to learn, and a lot of the guns you really need to learn how to use them instead of just kind of going into arena shooter and kind of shooting it up there. So that's the thing that separates Battlefield from COD, and I think it's pretty like known that Battlefield does take more skill than COD. And the problem is EA wants Battlefield to be more like COD so more people will play it, because COD knows what gamers want. Call of Duty knows that gamers want to kill people. Like, FPS gamers want to kill people. And that's what they've given them, pretty much, you know? We gave them, you know, low recoil, no bullet spread, and I know it's hit scan for sniper rifles, not too sure about automatic guns, but so it just makes it so much better in the fact that it takes some skill. For killing people, COD is way better. I'm gonna be honest, you know. That just kind of makes sense. That's another thing I love about Battlefield, and one thing they are doing Battlefield 1 that I've heard that I am so glad for is teamwork. They are putting the teamwork initiative, like, greater than any other Battlefield game so far, I do believe. It's basically, I've heard, like, that people, like, they would look at the scoreboard, their KD would be, you know, .5 or something, and they'd be at the top of the scoreboard simply because they were taking objectives, they were reviving teammates, they were healing teammates, they were giving teammates ammo. So they were doing all this stuff that has to do with teamwork. Obviously in COD you don't have all that stuff to worry about, it's just about killing people. So I am grateful that Battlefield 1 is going to be a Battlefield game, I do believe, but I do not want it to be like COD where there is low recoil and there's not much skill involved. Alright. And lastly, the thing I was getting to about before when I was talking about the bullet spread and how it's a little bit too much, so I've heard in Battlefield 1. I could be wrong, but I've heard this from good sources. So, this is how you fix it. Make the recoil higher, because I've heard that it wasn't as high as many people would have liked. And I'm hoping, I'm just, you know, praying that they will do this, and instead of making the bullet spread a lot, make the recoil a little bit higher and lower the bullet spread. And that way it makes the skill for the weapons your own. You can build up that skill that is essential, I feel like, for the Battlefield franchise. Like, you could use a gun over and over again, you build up that skill in order to successfully make it work in even the worst types of situations it doesn't even belong in. So anyway, that wraps it up for this episode on my channel. So if you would like to see more, subscribe, like this video, and comment down below if you feel like it. And anyway, so I guess I'll see you in the next one. And Dice, I know you can do good on this, so please do, and make Battlefield 1 skillful. Thank you.